Sliders are a really terrific tool, but all too often I see them being overused. Now you'll notice that we started this section with handheld and then tripod, and last is slider. That's for a reason, because sliders can be all too often used in the wrong order. I've been on sets where people turn up with a slider to do BTS and they start sliding away. Nothing gives you away more as an amateur than doing that. So, when is a good time to use a slider? Well, when you have the time, and use it sparingly. There are many situations where you're trying to do a slider shot when in fact a pan will do just as good a job. So, sliding techniques. There are so many different sliders available. This one happens to be from S.C.A.L.E. Couple of caveats with sliding. Don't try and pull focus while sliding, because it will just never work. You'll be sort of running around pulling focus and trying to do too much with one shot. For basics of sliding, choose your frame and set your focus. Set a frame, and what always works best is to slide off something. Now in this case, the tree is in the foreground. We've got some layers in the shot. Something that really helps you to develop your sense of cinematic look is creating depth in the image by creating layers. In this image, we've got the tree, which is out of focus. Slide along to reveal the bench and the boat. Come to the end, and actually I could just move that shot slightly to have a clean frame. What's quite useful is to have a tripod head on top of the slider, so you can just readjust your shot if necessary. So we'll do that shot again. And much in the same way as you're doing pans, it's all about smooth movement. You don't need to hang on to the slider, you don't need to hang on to the arm. What you want to do is use lightness of touch, start the shot static, and then move. In fact, I'm going to wait for these people to come through shot. So we'll start the move now, and as we slide, we get people cutting through the frame. And that adds some nice dynamism into the shot. That's all you need to do. Often the slide doesn't need to be very much more than 6 or 8 inches to give it the effect that you need. Don't feel you have to do these big long slides. Think in terms of 1 second, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. This is all moving towards always thinking about the edit, which is something we'll cover in later chapters. What I find with sliding is one way tends to work better than the other. There's by all means you can slide off a subject as well, but usually one way will work better. Now I said don't try and pull focus. It's not to say that you can't pull focus, you just need to be careful not to give yourself too much to do. If I wanted to pull focus here, I could start on the tree, and I'm going to wait for this person to walk into frame. I could start on the tree, start the move, and as we move past the frame, pull focus onto the lady as she sits down. And that is one of the lovely happy accidents of filmmaking. If I wanted to go back again, I'd be going back, and as the tree comes into vision, pull focus onto the tree. So it can be done, but if you're looking to just build up your knowledge and experience and confidence, just start with something, even if it's a tree in focus and the background out of focus, that works as well. There's no reason why you can't push this creatively. But like everything I'm teaching you in this section, these are the bare bones techniques that you have to master and practice again and again and again and again and again. I'm talking about every day to get really good at it so that you can learn to do it more and more quickly. Now, sliding from left to right and right to left is one option. The next option is pushing in or out of a subject. So let me reset that up and show you that. This again works best when you have something in the foreground like this pillar that gives you the perspective when you move the shot. Let me demonstrate. So we start here, we push the shot forward, and we reveal the bench. And then coming back the same way, we start with this shot here, nice and wide, and as we pull back, the perspective changes because we have some detail in the pillar. Now I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this because this just comes down to practice, practice, practice. So take these two techniques and use them and see which ones work best. A lot of framing and composition is about feeling if a shot works or not. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. There's no exact science to this. All I can recommend to you is play with foreground objects to try and build layers into your shot that helps the viewer feel a difference in perspective. You're changing the parallax when you move a camera like this. Here's some more examples of sliding low to the ground. In these shots, getting foreground detail with a low wide-angle lens can really be very effective. Detail in the foreground helps to give perspective and depth to the image. Having these shots out of focus can really work well.